But you went, oh, what else can I do if I can do this?
It's all about releasing it all.
Whoa,
Yeah,
look at
that's
that.
the worst
So,
part. So
what's life like now, apart from the fact you can sleep for
It
ages?
doesn't matter how much I sit there
But
worrying.
did you consciously know what your root cause? Hi, Tina. Thank you for joining me today. It's just such a pleasure to see you because it's been such a long time since we actually had a conversation, isn't it? I feel really emotional about this because it was April 2019 when we actually worked together. I know. Can you remember what that was like?
Yeah, scary. Really scary. Scary to a point where I really don't want to do this. My heart.
Working with me, do you mean?
No, actually coming to you to begin with, to getting out of the house and meeting a person in person. That was the scariest part.
Yeah, well, that was when I was doing face-to-face. I don't do that so much these days. But so what did you want my help to overcome?
Fear in living my life again, in not having the fear of being amongst people, being myself, basically, live my life. Basically, it's helping, not having the anxiety as in the point where I was being hospitalised and all that. I just needed somebody to help me to get through what I was going through.
Must have been a scary time.
It was so scary. And I mean, to a scary point where, sorry.
It's okay, I feel emotional as well.
Thinking back then and now, oh my God. Basically, I wanted your help as in helping me deal with the outside world again, being amongst people, feeling safe again, helping me to go out, do the shopping with my kids, doing the everyday to-day stuff, opening the curtains in the morning, answering the door.
Oh, Tina, that's just amazing. I remember your husband sort of saying, can you deal with it? Kind of thing. Almost like she's your issue, deal with her. I don't know what else to do with her. You know, you're our last hope. And that felt really quite scary for me because I hadn't long been qualified, but I knew that the method that I got was powerful, but I still didn't believe in myself. So I said, yeah.
I didn't believe in it.
No. And I did, because I'd already got my daughter. She was already well from her autoimmune disease. So I did know that what I could do was potentially a good thing.
It was spectacular.
I didn't know that I could do it, but it was just like, well, you're already in pain. Surely I can help a little bit. That's really what I was. And I thought, well, you know,
yeah, but you didn't help me a little bit, Rachel. You helped me. You helped me gain back my life.
Tina, it was a sensational
control. You give me control back.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting session. And you know, how many sessions did you have with me?
One session, and I was like, oh my God.
One session.
Even when I tell people now, and they say, how many sessions did you have? One session, and they're like, oh my God. One? Really?
Yeah.
Yes,
just one. And this is why you are part of my absolute root cause thingy. My mantra is that life is for living, and not come back next week and talk about it, because you don't need countless sessions. This is one. This was post-traumatic stress disorder at a phenomenal height, wasn't it? You've been hospitalized with this. you've been in so much, like you said, opening the curtains was a massive deal. And I remember your husband saying she just sits all day worrying about next door's dog and anything else that she can think of that she can worry about. She just
Any phone call, if I'd got a phone call saying a family member had been in hospital, I'd sit there sobbing my heart out and sit there worrying, and to a point where I'd get out of breath. I'd struggle to breathe. You know, it felt like something was crushing on my chest.
Mhm.
But now, oh my God, amazing.
Okay, so what was life like? Well, you said what it was like. What did you try before? That's one question I haven't asked you. What have you tried before we actually had a session together, or the only session we've ever had together?
The doctors promised us all these meetings. Basically, I was going to have to go for all these meetings. I tried tablets, obviously not. There was a long lines of antidepressants, but they did not go to plan, because I went on the antidepressants and they upped my dose after 3 weeks. And it pains me to say that I'd upped my dose and I'd basically went for my son. I went to try and kill him.
You, sweetheart.
Because I'd upped my dose. They'd upped my dose at the doctor's on the Friday. On the Saturday, I took the double dose in the morning, not realising I'd actually took the double dose in the morning. On the Saturday afternoon, I then took the next lot of dose, thinking I've only took one dose in the morning. I need to double dose because they upped my dose yesterday. So I did that. That didn't agree with me. Not at all. That turned really, really badly. And then looking back at the tablets, I didn't actually realise that I double dosed, because I was thinking, well, they've told me I've got to up my dose, not realising that I'd up my dose on the morning, and then I'd also done it in the evening, thinking that I've not upped my dose in the morning.
Yeah, well, that's an easy mistake to make, really, isn't it? Especially when you're not thinking straight. You've got all those, you just opening the
When
curtain.
your head is all jumbled, there's so much going on inside your head, and you're thinking of everything, and it's all jumbled up. You can't think of anything else.
No,
Nothing seems to make sense.
No, I understand that. So how can you imagine how much money or time or hours do you think you've spent trying to sort the issue out of post-traumatic stress before we worked together?
Hours? How many hours and years?
Yeah. How long have you been suffering with it for?
About 5, 6 years. Really badly. And I wouldn't, no, that's wrong. It's not 5 or 6 years. I've been suffering with it the whole of my life, but obviously in time it's escalated. So in time it's got worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
To
I think
a
you
point,
said it was worse when you had children, because you were worrying about them as well, weren't you?
because you want to protect them more.
Yeah.
So when I had the children, obviously, mother's instinct kicks in. You want to do what's right for them. Any cough or cold, and you got people saying to you, oh, it's only a cold, blah, blah, blah. But when you're going through something that I went through, it's not just a cough or cold. It's something a bit more. And you always think of the worst scenario rather than thinking, yeah, it is just a cough or it is just a cold. I always used to think of the worst.
Yeah.
Think, oh my God, I'm going to lose my baby. I'm going to lose my children. But
Mhm.
when, it's so hard. It's so hard to explain it,
Mhm.
of what I
I think
went
you do.
through.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job of just hearing your voice and the emotion. People can get a handle on how difficult life must have been for you, and not just you, but your
It
family
was
as well,
difficult.
because they're worrying about you and you're worrying about everybody, and it's just a constant fight
Yeah,
flight thing, isn't it?
it was. It was difficult. I mean, every time the phone would ring and somebody would say, "Oh, so and so's passed away," and I'd sit there sobbing my heart out, and family members obviously had seen me in a state, get myself all worked up every time I get a phone call, or even silly little things when hubby comes home from work. "Oh, do you want to hear the good news, Teen, or the bad news?" I'll be like, "The bad news, because I'm used to it." That's the way I used to think. I used to think of bad things all the time. I never ever see anything good out of life. Never. Never see anything past what was in front of me that day.
Yeah. So why did you decide to work with me out of all the other people it could have been? Why me?
Because my husband was in a bit of a state. He was at his wit's end, didn't know what to do. He knew the kids were suffering, and seeing the state I was in, seeing that, I couldn't go out, do the things a normal mum would do, go shopping with the kids, Christmas shopping or stuff that the kids needed for school. I couldn't even do that. So hubby was like, this has gone too far. So obviously, while he was at work on night shift, he'd search the web. He obviously must have been at his wit's end. And God love him. He had his best interest in heart for me and the kids.
Yeah.
Not for him. It was for me and for our children. And he said to me, one day he come home and he said, "Teen," he said, "I found this lady on the internet." He said, "Will you give her a try?" I said, "What do you mean?" He went, "A hypnosis lady." And I went, "No, Craig." I said, "You're not spending that sort of money out on me," because I didn't feel worthy of it. And I turned around and I said to him, I said, "Look," I said, "let's wait for all the appointments and everything the doctors have said to us and the hospital." And he kept going on and on and on. In the end, I give up. But I was so determined. I've always had it in my head that hypnosis would never work. I always thought it was a load of rubbish. And I'm sorry, Rachel, but that is the way I felt back then.
Don't need to apologise, because
I
I didn't
never, ever
want to train in
believed
this
in it.
either. No, I didn't, and
Never.
that is the beautiful thing. So thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't either. It was counselling that I was going to training, and it was hypnosis that you had to do as a first year, and I was just like, I'm just going to sleepwalk through. I'm not interested. But then, because I got actually there might be something in this, and then I helped my daughter before I helped you. It's like this stuff works, right? So it was that, and because it worked with my daughter, and I was like, okay, what else can I do? I hired the room where we went to in Essential Wellbeing, and
I remember that very well.
And it was just
in a good way.
it was amazing. So we had one session together. What was life like? Well, shall we talk about what the session was like? Because did you consciously know why your root cause to PTSD was?
No, never.
Okay.
I never, ever would have thought that it had gone back to my childhood. Not in a million years. Because I kept thinking, what is so wrong? Why is everybody throwing all this bad stuff at me? Why? am I such a bad person? But I would never, ever, in a million years, I would never have dreamed that it had gone back to when I was that age.
6.
Not in a million years.
No.
Such a young age. You wouldn't think that at the age of 6, you would actually be growing up with that, and it'd put me where I was. And I say was, compared to where I am now.
Yeah. But you hadn't forgotten what that was, though, had you?
No, definitely not. I haven't forgotten it. I can talk about it more.
Right.
Openly, without thinking people's judging me, or without getting angry at myself, or I can talk about it openly, because at the end of the day, it was not my fault.
Absolutely. And that's how I feel about my trauma that I've gone through. It feels like I can talk about it easily, because it feels like it happened to somebody else almost, because the emotion's gone out of it now. It's a beautiful thing. So do you want to share what happened or not? It's entirely up to you. It doesn't matter either way, but
I will share what happened. I'm gladly to share, because at the end of the day, if it's going to help others, because you don't realise how much it affects you when your life, as you get older in life, which I never thought that it would affect me the way that it did. Never in a million years. So basically, I was at a beach with my mum and dad. My dad used to do fishing a lot, sea fishing at Felixstowe. And I asked mum and dad if I could have an ice cream, and mum said, ask your dad. So I went, Dad, can I have an ice cream, please? So he gave me the money. He went, go to the ice cream, straight to the ice cream and back, which was just literally up the bank, and my mum and dad could see the ice cream van. Me being 6-year-old, I decided to walk along the beach and around the footway, which is like a little alleyway as you go up to the ice cream van. And as I got there, or just before I got there, I picked up a flask. And the flask that I picked up, being 6-year-old, I was like, oh, I'm going to give that to my mummy. She'll be so proud of giving that. Shaking it, I thought there were stones in it. Obviously it wasn't. It was the old tight flask with the glass in. The glass had broken. That's what was shaking in it. And then as I started walking round the back of Bollards towards the ice cream van, there was a man that was sat against a concrete post. He never had anything on. He never had anything with him, no carry bags. You couldn't see anything around him that was his belongings. All I see was a heap of sand, which was on the right-hand side of him, with the knife point poking out the end of the sand. And that was when he approached me. And he started asking me all these questions. First thing was, he went, excuse me, Doc. He said, we got a drink in that flask? And I said, no. I said, I've just picked it up for my mummy. He went, oh, okay. And then, oh my God, the words. I still see the face, the words that comes out of his mouth. He asked me all these questions about, would you go and get me a drink from the ice cream lorry? Because that's where I said I was going. And then I said, yeah. And then he said, would you like to see some money come out of my willy? And then I went, no, I don't think so. And then he kept going on about oh, do you want to stand here and just wait to see this white stuff come out my willy? Then you can go and buy me a drink, since you haven't got a drink in your flask. And then he could see I was getting agitated. And then that's when he jumped up and he grabbed the heap of sand that was on the right-hand side of him. And I could see him coming towards me with a knife. I'll never forget, I was dressed in blue dungarees. I've got my hair done in plaits down the side, little t-shirt underneath. And he grabbed hold of me. He started trying to rip my clothes off me. He'd ripped both my straps off my dungarees. And he held the knife here. And he said, if you scream or do anything, he said, I will slit your throat. He said, you'll be where the others are. And I managed to get away, which hence I've got the scar on my lip here where he cut me with a knife. And I ran to the ice cream van and told them what had happened. Within minutes, there was absolutely swarmed with police all over the car park. And then my mum and dad had obviously got a whiff, you know, oh my God, where's Tina gone? Where's Tina gone? Come up to the ice cream van and I was there. My mouth was all bleeding, my clothes was all ripped, my hair was all ripped out, my plaits was all out. And my mum grabbed hold of me and my dad just held me so tight.
That's an incredible story. And
he held me so tight, he didn't want to let me go. And I was so worried that he was going to find him and ended up doing something really bad and I was going to lose my dad as well. But we went walking along the beach and my dad see this bloke and I looked and I went, oh my God, that's him. And with that, my dad pushed my mum and me away and he went like that with the fishing rod. I went, Dad, no, stop, that's not him. And we spent all day, me and my mum, in the police car, searching all around the campsites of Felixstowe, round by the docks. Couldn't find him. But then there was, the police officer said they'd witnessed a bloke running across the car park with a carrier bag and no shoes and socks on. All he'd got on was shorts. But they didn't stop him because I didn't see that he'd got any bags or anything with him. So I'm guessing in a way, you know, in the back of my mind, maybe that was the cause because they didn't catch him. But we also found out later on that day that he was a very, very wanted man because he'd actually kidnapped and raped an 18-month-old girl and buried her in the sand where I was actually stood. So I'm guessing that sort of played on my mind, but I didn't realise.
It would anybody, wouldn't it? It would have anybody. Yeah. And when we were having the session together, because you've shared more detail there than we actually had in the session, I didn't need to let you go through all of that. I was seeing this wonderful 6-year-old going, wow, she got away. Flipping heck, if she can do that when she's 6, what could she do now she's an adult? And it was about empowering you. I was absolutely honoured to be in your company. That's how I felt. It was like, holy moly, you know, this 6-year-old, she's a pretty little thing, isn't she? Right? She got away and she got help. And we're not talking this just a couple of years ago. There was no such mobile phones, was there?
Oh, no, nothing.
You got help from that ice cream man, and then they got the police. And I was just like, this is amazing. And then we went to another couple of scenes. I think one of them was a car accident where you'd gone and you'd walked your kids half a mile up the road, because you're in fight or flight.
When I had to kick the doors open to try and get my kids out and make sure they're safe. And then yards up the road, my mother-in-law lived, and I dropped them off at mother-in-law's house. Well, banged on the door, and she went, "What the hell has happened? I've had an accident. Craig's going to kill me. It's his car." And I went, "Just watch your kids." I said, "I need to go back. I need to make sure the other people are safe." And as I started walking at the path and towards the accident, which was just literally minutes up the road, and the last I remember was collapsing on the pavement, or half on the pavement, half on the road. And then all I remember after that was the helicopter, me asking what the noise was, and my mum said, "It's a helicopter, the air ambulance, it's come for you." And that was when I refused to go into the air ambulance. All I remember was waking up strapped to this seat thing with a big board on my back, and my neck's all strapped up. I'm strapped up to all these different machines, and that was the most scariest thing of all, which I thought. But obviously, you know, people go through it, but it still does play on your mind.
But again, I was thinking, this woman is amazing. She's not only walked the kids up the road, sorted them out, she's come back, she's tried to sort the driver out who hit her and the vehicle, and then she's passed off the road with her own injuries. And it's like, this is some superwoman I've got in front of me here.
And I got through it.
Yes, you did. And that was the point I was seeing you. I was seeing you, like I talk about now, as this sparkling diamond, right? That's who you are.
I didn't feel it. You
didn't see that. I know, but this is how
I never see it.
No, but you do now, don't you? Because
it's
working with the subconscious. It's about. But look, you were 6 and you got away, and you said, I think the most empowering thing was, well, you can tell me, but I thought the most empowering thing was where you had to actually see yourself now, if that happened now, how you got away and how you would have. When do you feel you took your power back from feeling like the victim?
After seeing you.
But was there a particular part of the session?
After being with you, and when you said to me, if you could speak to him now and say to him what you want to say to him, he doesn't have to be in this room, but imagine him, picture him the other side of the door. You say to him what you want to say to him. And that, I think that's when I felt the power come back. That's when I felt like, oh my God, I can do this. I'm not going to be scared anymore. There's nothing to be scared of. And that, oh my God, was amazing. That was when my life was like, oh, let it out.
Yes, well, we did, didn't we? And I do remember it. I tell you what I really remember was, well, I remember the fact that you were starting to sort of come back to life almost in front of me, because you started to see you as I was seeing you, like you're 6 and you got away and you all this sort of stuff. It's like, holy moly, what else can she achieve if she can do that when she's 6? But it was walking down the stairs going after our session. Do you remember?
When I started walking down the stairs and I stopped, I see the mirror. And
you stopped. I ran into the back of you.
I stopped. I remember.
So do I. We were creating a little bit of noise.
I turned round and I looked in that mirror and I was like, and I started tearing up. And if you remember rightly, I put my arms around you.
Yeah, it was emotional.
And it was emotional.
Because you stopped. It was
emotional, but in a good way.
Yes, it was. You stopped dead and I ran in the back of you because you stopped so suddenly. I was expecting to go to the door, but you stopped in front of the mirror and you said, look at that. And I'm like, what's that? I don't see anything. And you said, well, it's my scar from that attack. And I said, oh, but I never look in the mirror, you said. And I said,
I
oh,
never have.
okay.
I never did up until then.
But then you said, but I'm loving this. It's my warrior wound. And I was like, yes, it is.
I'm a warrior.
Yes, you are.
I'm
Yes,
a
there was a
warrior
lot of
because
in
I
that
got
story.
through it.
Yes,
That
you did.
was, oh my
Exactly.
God,
Exactly. And
amazing.
then you said to me, right, more or less, I'll see you. But do you know what I'm going to do now? And I was like, very flippantly
I'm
said, no.
going shopping.
Yes, you did. But they're okay, right? Okay. And you almost shook me again and went, you don't understand. I mean, I'm 5'10". I don't. How tall are you? About 5'3".
Shorter than you, Rachel.
Yes. But you shook me. Like, you don't understand. I haven't been shopping for like 5 years.
Oh God, it seemed like forever.
You said, I think you said 5 years on my own and 2 years with your husband, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it
said
was.
we did all our shopping online last couple of years. This was way before COVID, wasn't it? Did all my
Yeah.
shopping online for Christmas because I couldn't face the shops, and I
Couldn't face people.
and I am going to go shopping right now and buy my son a birthday card. It's his birthday next week. I remember this like yesterday because it's ingrained in me, because it's like, this is such an incredible session.
And
Right?
it felt amazing.
It did to me as well, because
to actually walk out of there and walk into a shop, or even to walk down the street and not even to go, you know, constantly, every step I used to take when I was outside, I'd be like always aware of who's around me, or, you know, who's looking, or, you know, if somebody got a bit close, I'd be like, hang on a minute, why is he getting too close? Or, you know, always aware of people who was around.
Can't you? Now you understand it. You can see how anybody in that situation would be feeling exactly like you did. It's not your fault. You weren't broken.
No.
You were trying to keep yourself alive. Your subconscious was doing its job, which, because that's the most important thing. It wants to keep you alive. It's not so worried about you being happy. It just wants you to stay alive.
Be me.
Yeah. But
which
now,
I wasn't.
No. And you were just buy a birthday card. You said you bought something else as well, didn't you?
I brought my mother-in-law a Ted Baker weekender bag, which my husband wasn't too happy about, because when I got home, he looked at the price tag, he went, how much? And I looked at him, I went, Craig, I've got years of shopping to make up for. But that was my way of saying thank you to my mother-in-law for how much she's helped me out. Like, when I wasn't able to go out, she was coming down and helping me out with the kids. The stuff that I wasn't able to go out and do shopping for, you know, the school stuff that the kids needed. Mother-in-law was having to go for it. You know, she was going and buying it all for me. Which, you know, what best mother-in-law could you wish for? And it took me, okay, I used to look at her, you know, yeah, it's my mother-in-law, it's not my mum, but she has been a godsend throughout. Although, you know, she tried to push me, Tina, you don't need to be like this. Tina, you can get out there. You can do the shopping. You can do this. The kids need this. Kids need that. But she knew that I wasn't able to do it. So she used to go out and do it. And that was my way of saying thank you, Mum. You know, it helped me.
Yeah.
She was there for me.
That's gorgeous, isn't it? That is just lovely. So the next question is, what's life like now?
Oh my God. Absolutely amazing. Now I'm out there. I own my own business. I do garden work for surrounding villages, which I've been doing ever since Well, ever since I came to see you in 2019, because my initial thought was when I came out of there, well, I need to do something now that keeps me still mixed in with people, but also do a job that I want to do, a job that I would enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd have asked me back in 2019, where would you be now? Would you be owning your own business like today? I'd say not a chance now. Would you be doing the job that you're doing now and being amongst people? No, I wouldn't. Absolutely no way.
No,
And now,
you're probably kittens thinking about it.
oh my God, absolutely no way.
No.
And now I'm out there. I meet different people all the time. I've got so many clients that I have to sometimes say, sorry, I haven't got places. I've got no availability. I know it might sound a bit swell-headed to some people, but I've got where I am for a reason.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Because I'm good at what I do.
Yes, you are.
And
well,
I
you had
love
6 people telling you that the other day. 6 people come to recommend one person.
6 people in one day. Yesterday, I had 3 people message me, Tina, is there any chance you can take me on? As you've been highly recommended by, and they gave me loads of different names of my customers that I go to now and the family members, and they've highly recommended me. And I'm like, I've got to say no, I'm so sorry. But it's overwhelming.
You start hiring staff.
No, I have actually asked about having staff work with me, and they say, no, we want you, Tina, because of what you do and how you work and the person that you are.
Yes. Well, that says everything.
I'm like, that's a person. That's me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you need to own it, my darling.
I've earned it.
You have. Absolutely, you have. And
I love what I do. If I'd have thought back in 2019, would I be where I am today? Not a chance in hell.
I wouldn't have believed it either.
No way. I don't even think I would have been here in person.
Oh, Tina.
Maybe in spirit, but not in person. So I love my life now. I'm happy. My kids are happy.
You parent so bloody beautifully as well. Excuse the French, but you do. You know, it's just wonderful listening to
I'm living again.
Yes, you are, Tina. Isn't that just fabulous? It
feels like I've been reborn the person that I should have been, or that I am. That
you always were, but it was just blocked by all the, I call it like an onion, all that, like that beautiful sparkly diamond has been covered by all the trauma and all the stories.
It was being suffocated by ivory.
Yes, it was. Oh, that's a good one. Yes, by ivy. Of course, you're the gardener. Of course, it's going to be ivy and not me. But yeah. You're right. And it's about peeling back the ivy that sucks the life out of you. I love that image. Peeling it all back so that the diamond can shine. And you are, my darling, you are shining.
I'm shining again. It's me.
Isn't it just beautiful? And that is what I call the soul essence of who you are, because you've not just released PTSD, you have come back to that soul.
I've come back to a person that I love in myself as a person.
Yes, there's always been there.
It doesn't matter what people say about you or to you. You're the person that you were born to be.
Yes.
No matter what anybody says.
You're not bothered about other people can share an opinion and you can go, okay, thank you for sharing. But it doesn't rock the world like it would have done, does it?
No, it doesn't. Absolutely no way. because my world at the minute is absolutely fantastic.
You are fantastic. That is
I
wonderful.
know I am. I am me, and I am beautiful.
But you're rocking it so well. Yes, you are.
That's it.
Yeah, that is just gorgeous. So some people might be sitting on the fence thinking, listening to you and me talking and thinking, well, that's okay, but I wasn't held at knife point, and this and this didn't happen to me, and therefore Rachel can't help me. And they might be sitting on the fence. Maybe they've never invested in themselves. Maybe like you're like, I'm not worth that amount of money. So what would you say to that person?
But then there's people out there, Rachel, that has probably had worse done to them than I've been through.
But there's no such thing as big or little t trauma. It's trauma is anything that makes you feel bad about yourself. So it doesn't have to be on a scale of 10.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
If something bad has happened to you, then obviously, yeah, you might look into certain things and think, oh, that won't work. You know, there's no help for me out there. Just like I did. I never thought that there was any help for me, to a point where I used to sit on the window ledge in the bedroom. And I thought to one point, no, my luck, if I chuck myself down there, I'm not going to make it, or I'll make it and I'll end up being paralysed from waist down. That'd be my luck, because there was no help out there for me, because I didn't believe in anything, because like with hypnosis, never believed in it.
Okay, well, how
but
is it?
For people,
because you're just talking to me with your eyes closed, if that's it. But
no, it's not. It's the initial thought, or not the thought. It's going back. How you took me back to my childhood.
Yes.
How you took me back to when I felt unsafe, where I felt scared and all that. And that is what brought me back to when I was 6. And the same again, when you took me back to when you asked me the question, when did you feel the most safest and where? And if you remember rightly, I said to you that it was back in the house in Kettering, and I was sat on my bed, and you said to me, picture that little girl who has gone through all that trauma and wrap your arms around her. And that, the wrapping their arms, oh my God, that was out of this world. That literally felt, I know it sounds strange to people out there that does not believe in any of this, but that wrapping their arms, it honestly felt, although it was my arms that was wrapped around myself, it felt like it was that girl that was wrapping their arms around that little girl again.
It's beautifully healing. It sounds really Pollyanna, but it isn't. It's about parenting yourself. It's about finding that wounded, because it doesn't matter whether you're held at knife point at 6 years old, or whether it was a teacher telling you you're stupid over and over again, or anything in between that. It doesn't matter.
Anything can be a trauma.
Anything that you've gone through that makes you feel bad about yourself is trauma.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so it doesn't have to be as significant or even worse. It doesn't matter what the event is. It's anything that you felt, and then you've got those.
It can be something bullying in school.
It can be anything. Yes. It can be anything where your needs weren't met, and your needs definitely weren't met that day. But it was about anything that makes you feel bad, because you've got this thing, your needs aren't met, and therefore you have to internalize it. I'm stupid. I'm not enough. I can't do this. It's my fault.
And that is the way I felt all the time. I felt as if I wasn't good enough for anybody. You know, that's why I always felt as bad things are going to happen all the time. Yeah, because you felt helpless, hopeless and powerless. Yeah. And then you wear those labels like they're around you. You don't know you are, but and then that helpless, hopeless, powerless goes out everywhere.
in
Yeah.
everything you do, think, feel, and believe about yourself. So it's just about finding out how, when, and where that began. So then we can tell yourself a different story. And it's deep in your subconscious. We're rewiring those neurons in your mind just by words.
So
It's
powerful.
like, it is very powerful, and it's flipping amazing. And just look at
Yeah.
you, one session, and you've got your life back. It's
I've
incredible.
not only got my life back, it's not only a life, it's everything. It's like being reborn. I've got my life back, being reborn. I own my own business. I'm back to me and being the person that I should be.
Yeah.
That I was born to be.
But think about the ripple effect, Tina. It's not just affected you. Think about your husband.
The whole family.
And your kids. I mean, the way you parent is so different because, I mean, I don't know what you were like as a parent before, but certainly now you're like, I've heard how you're talking to your daughter. And I was like, well, get you know? It's like really powerful mama bear stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's like when my mum rang me and said about my nephew being in hospital. Now, if it had been back in 2019, I would have sat there sobbing my heart out and thinking of the worst. But I actually turned around and said to my mum, "Oh, don't worry, Mum. He's in the best place, you know. Don't sit there worrying because it ain't going to change anything. It's not going to change a single thing. It's not going to make things worse. It's not going to make things better. So just wait and wait for the outcome. He's in the best place possible." The same as when you cry. If you cry, it doesn't matter how many tears you shred. It's not going to bring that person back if it's for a person that's passed away. It's not going to bring a person back. All it's doing is draining your body. You've got to live your life to the full.
Yeah, but you've got to feel the feels. You've got to let those emotions out.
You do feel the feels, yeah. But I don't sit there and sob my heart out like I used to, or physically feel sick, or sit there every night worrying until I get the next phone call to say, oh, so-and-so's out of hospital, or, you know, everything's okay. You know, days, I could be doing that for days, weeks leading up. If somebody had been hospitalised in the family, I'd be sitting there whittling and worrying, constantly crying and thinking the worst and, oh, what if? Whereas now I think, well, it doesn't matter how much I sit there worrying, it's not going to change what's going to happen.
No.
All you got to do is sit there and wait. And no matter what happens, it'll happen. You know, yes, you do feel the emotion. You do feel that gut instinct and, you know, the upset feeling, but I don't sit there worrying myself anymore like I used to, which is absolutely amazing, because beforehand I used to do that on a regular basis. And I mean daily, not weekly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you were saying just opening the curtains was a massive thing.
Yeah.
So, and now you've got your own business, you've got your own van, you've got your own tools in your van, you're booked fully, people want you, you're in demand, and you're rocking it. It's just beautiful. Yeah, that's so good. You've empowered yourself and you've empowered your kids at the same time. It's a big
and friends at racing as well.
Oh yes, we forget that. Yes, you go racing, you know, to watch them. And your son races. I mean, can you imagine what the former Tina would be doing now?
Oh my
doing
God.
Her sons in the adult races.
I'd have been throwing up, I'd have been crying, I'd have been in bits, literally in bits. I mean, when he used to race when he was younger, I used to physically throw up the night before and all the day leading up to his race.
Wow.
Whereas now, I'm like, you know, he's a strong person. He takes after me now. Maybe not back in 2019, but yeah, he takes after me now. He's a strong person. He's strong-minded. He can do it.
Really good as well.
Yep. He's World Shell Championship, and he's youngest
Is it?
to actually win anything major
Wow. Yes.
in the formula. So
It does take
yeah,
after you, I agree. Yes.
strong-minded.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's right. What you focus on, you get more of. Isn't that
Oh
beautiful?
God, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't change my world now not for nothing. Not for nothing. Because at the minute, I couldn't wish for better at the minute. I love my
Beautiful.
kids, I love my family, I love my life, I love being out there with people. It is just amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. You're amazing, aren't you? I mean, if you're amazing
Yes.
at 6, I mean, look what you did at 6. That's incredible. And that
To
is
get through that,
yeah,
you know, back then I would have never thought, you know,
no,
God, I fighted this man off.
yeah,
But now I look back at it and I'm like, well, I am a strong person. I am me.
mm,
I'm strong inside and
mm,
outside.
mm.
I fought this man off. So that does make me a stronger person.
It does. It makes you incredible. Makes you a warrior.
And beforehand, I could never ever talk about that person.
No.
I couldn't even mention anything about what had happened to me back then. Whereas now I can openly speak about it. And I think, well, it wasn't my fault. At the end of the day, I'm not the one that should be hiding away.
No, exactly.
It's
And I
that
think that came
person
out
that's at fault.
as well, didn't it? That came out
Yes.
like, no, you know, you're not.
Yes.
That was beautiful. You are beautiful, and you're amazing and incredible woman.
I know.
You are. And it's so great that you just agree with me. I think that's amazing. So, anything else you want to add, Tina, before we leave it there?
All I want to say is, if there's people out there that does not believe in hypnosis like I did, and trust me, there is so many people out there that does not believe in it. But if you're suffering the way I was suffering, and I mean in a bad way, if it can get me where I am now, try it. You've got nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
So go ahead. And I mean, try it.
But why wouldn't you? Mind, it's 95% of everything we do, think, feel, and believe about ourselves consciously.
100% in my case, Rachel. It's got me where I am today.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for my husband actually pushing me to come and see you, and me actually visiting you on a one-off chance, and to get me where I am today, I honestly can put hand on heart and say there's no way I would have been here. No way. Because I felt at the lowest that anybody could feel. And that is even looking at my children and thinking of them, about leaving them behind. And all I kept thinking about is what the pain that I was putting them through. That's why towards the end, I kept thinking, I've got to do this, because I cannot any longer put them through this pain. So it's got to be done. And it was a little while after that when my husband taught me into coming to see you. So thankfully, it's thanks to you that my kids have still got their mum.
Oh.
And a happy and proud mum too.
Thank you. That's quite big, actually, isn't it?
I mean it.
I know you do.
That is so true. That is, honest to God, hand on heart, that is how I felt. It got me through. Coming to see you, Rachel, it got me through it. It gave me back my life. It gave my children back their mum. And I'm here.
So it's a very small investment in that respect.
If it doesn't matter how much that cost me, if I knew back then how much this had worked. And if they had said to me, 10 grand, I would have gone through it to get me back where I am now. It doesn't matter the cost.
I need to put my prices up then.
No, honestly, it does not matter about the cost.
No, it
Cost
doesn't.
is
It's
nothing. Cost is
isn't.
nothing when it brings you back your life.
Exactly, because if you've got money in the bank, you're dead. You've really not got much at all, have you? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But isn't it just beautiful? Look at the transformation in you. You are incredible, lady, and I am so proud of working with you and knowing you and even talking to you. It's just been, and thank you for your time as well, because it's just, that means so much too. I often talk about you in my discovery calls, you know. I say to them, you know, if I can do that in one session, what else? You know, it doesn't have to take countless.
It's such an amazing thing to do, Rachel, what you've done.
Thank you. Well,
honestly, it's such
a
powerful thing that you do.
It is powerful, and it's amazing.
Be proud of yourself.
Thank you, darling. It really does fill me up with joy. It's just like you and your flowers. I guess I'm nurturing. You know, you are the flower in my garden, if you like. I'm nurturing that plant while you're with me, and I'm breathing life into you.
Yeah.
Because that is how you're meant to be. You're meant
because
to spark.
You brought me back to life again.
Yeah, you're meant to
instead
spark.
of being this wilting flower, I've rebloomed.
You have.
There's a way to look at it.
Yes, absolutely, and everybody should bloom the way you are. That is that is the natural state of being. I'm not creating something that wasn't already there.
You're just bringing something back that's already there.
Yes, you're just coming home to your soul essence of you. It's all the other stuff, the anxiety, the depression, the alcohol dependency, the chronic conditions, all that is in a big bag of you feel your body is telling you when you wake up, because you're off center and you're going through life off center, but coming back to you without all that. It was just a story your body's trying to tell you, saying, will you just come back to yourself,
just relive again?
Just, yes, exactly. You're not meant to be in chronic condition pain or whatever. You're meant, if you weren't born with it, you've acquired it. Anything you've acquired, you can let go of.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. And
it's like when I had the problem when I had the implant and you sent me that thing to resurface it.
Yes.
And I did, when I went back, it did actually resurface it. So they was able to find it.
Awesome.
I thought, oh my God.
You see how powerful your mind is? I'd forgotten I'd done that. Just a little simple recording.
I've got the look.
Oh yeah, just telling your body to reject it and push it out. I think that's what I said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See how powerful
and it resurfaced it, and I've got my new one in, which is here. Look.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I can just see it. Awesome.
See, it worked. You didn't even know that worked, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just again,
on the scan when they did the scan. I was like, oh my God, it's there. Look. And I was like, oh yeah. So basically, it's gone that way instead of that way.
Mm-hmm.
So when they tried to look for it before, they couldn't see any sign of it. And then when you sent me all that, and then I went back, and then they could actually see it. So it resurfaced. It was only to a tiny little pinpoint, about the ball point of a pen, but you could actually see it. And yet when they tried before, they could not see a sign of it. So it worked.
Mm-hmm. Powerful. Really powerful stuff.
You are powerful. You've got a powerful mind, powerful way of helping people.
Thank you, but it's the subconscious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah. It's not me. I'm not doing the healing. I think that's important. It's the subconscious.
But I look at it, Rachel, as you have done the healing because you've got that gift of doing that. Yeah, it might be subconscious and all
Yeah.
that, and you get to learn it all, but do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah, but it's not me. It is the subconscious that in the client that does it. But yes, I'm the guide that takes you. And you have to have that sort of knowing what's similar, knowing the differences, looking for what you're looking for. And doing the detective work is key, but it's also about empowering. It's one thing knowing where the root cause is, because if you could probably find out that, remember that you were held at knife point when you were 6, you're not going to forget that. So you did really know what the root cause is. You just didn't realize the impact it had.
No.
However, it's about freeing yourself of it, and that's the empowering thing.
And you helped me to do that.
Yeah, and it was such a beautiful session. I almost got kicked out of that premises, because we were making so much noise. But I didn't care too much. I just well, you know what? I mean, we're having massages or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry, but we have just,
achieved something big.
Bit big, yes, phenomenal, in fact.
Yes.
And it needed celebrating. And it was just the way you came down the stairs and boom, I just knocked into you. And I'm like, no.
Normally I'd have turned and I went, sorry, but I didn't. I was just like,
no. Yeah, you were full of it. And so you should have been, it was time to celebrate, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. To feel that lift.
Yeah, the lightness.
Feel that when you brought me back round, and to feel that, like when I said it feels like there's something missing, but it was in a really good way. And it felt like
that weight you were carrying, all that emotional weight was just dumped.
Yeah, it just felt, I mean, even now it just feels so surreal that how I felt as in
lifetimes, I suppose.
lifted. And how you said to me about how you'd want it taken away. Do you want it locking into a box? Do you want it drifting off in the balloons? And I went, no, with the balloons in the sky. And I could actually picture the whole lot lifting in this box with the balloons drifting over the housetops. And you could almost feel it coming out inside.
Yeah.
And to some people, when you explain it, it doesn't, they look at you.
No, Pollyanna, like you've gone woo-woo orbit.
Yeah. They don't actually think that, this could actually work.
Well, that's how my daughter did it as well with her autoimmune disease. I just need to tie it to a pink helium balloon, she said, and watch it float away. Because the subconscious mind love imagery. That's what they don't speak English or whatever language. They're all about imagery. So giving it that image allows that to happen and facilitates it. So it just makes perfect sense when you know. And it was one of it doesn't matter how long I do this, your session's going to be one of my favorites.
It's got to be the most amazing thing that I have ever been through. I mean, giving birth is a most amazing thing, as you know. But topping that, Rachel, I don't think anything could top that.
No, well, you empowered me as well, sweetheart, in that moment, because it made me okay, I can't stop now. I've got to keep going, because this is a big thing.
I know. It's just amazing how far you've come now.
Yes. Well, so
and I love it.
Thank you.
We both have come a long way through this.
Yes, we have.
We've both achieved something. We're both living and going on as we mean to go on.
Yes.
We're both strong women.
Yes, we are.
We are strong and we are beautiful. And we can do anything we want to do.
Yes, that's in my recording to you as well. Yes, it is.
Yep.
And yes, we are. And we, all of us, though, this is how we are all supposed to be.
We are. It just needs for somebody to remind you that yes, you are. You are a beautiful person. You are you. Yes. You are an individual. You may be different, but you're still beautiful in your own way.
Yeah, but that needs celebrating, because we're all different. We're all, that's how we're meant to be. We've all got this unique purpose on the planet. We've all got our own unique talents and gifts. It's about unlocking them and shining. And that is who we're meant
bringing
to
out
be.
the person
Right.
that's inside, that's tucking
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And you did that for me.
With a pleasure. I'll do it again, but at least I don't need to.
You'll never need to do it again because I'm reliving again.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for being here, Tina. It's been an absolute honour to celebrate your success and your achievements.
Because it's amazing, that's why.
I know you are. It's 3 years, 4 years, that's all.
For 4.5 years.
4.5, all right. But that's nothing. That's nothing, is it?
But it means a lot to me.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
because that's
time.
Yes.
How you are now, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why life is for living and not therapy. That is, you are my, you are the reason, or one of the reasons why I really believe that, because it works, it's powerful, it's amazing.
It definitely is that.
Yeah,
definitely.
It is. And I've used it for me, my toxic relationship.
Yeah.
I was actually going through a divorce when I was working with you.
I know.
And
look how far you've come since.
Yeah, I know, but it was, I always put what's going on in my little world of the other side, and it's like, I am focused on you. The client is the most important person in that relationship. It's about being fully focused, fully present, listening to your language, listening to the similarities, the differences, and all of that, so that you can feel empowered.
And you did that.
So, well, we could talk about this all day and about how amazing you are, but I think we ought to leave it there before we make people sick.
Oh, we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that, no. So it's absolutely amazing.
People need to realise, there is strength out there in themselves.
Yes,
Just
they are strong.
Go for it and do it.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. True.
It is very true.
It is true. Thank you, sweetheart. You are amazing, and I'll look forward to catching up with you at some point in the future.
You will do.